backfield. Can they do it again? Yes, they can!
And the catch is made by Taj Washington. Touchdown, USC.
Blocked by Embiid! Timmy, yes!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Beef Upfront podcast. This is your host, Ryan Coyle, back with another episode as part of our lead up to the NBA draft, as part of our prospect profile series. Today, we will be diving into Cam Whitmore, freshman wing out of Villanova, 6'7", 230 pounds with a 6'11" wingspan, only 18 years old, one of the younger players in this year's draft, so still plenty of time to grow as a player. Had a bit of an up and down year in his lone year at Villanova, one of Villanova's worst years in the past decade for sure, the first year after Jay Wright. This was a team that had some key guys like Cam Whitmore at the beginning of the year and Justin Moore slowly coming into the season because of injuries. Whitmore was playing sooner than Justin Moore, but as the season went on, the team got better and you saw the growth out of them. It was a very veteran-led team over the past few years. This team was very young. And Whitmore being one of the highly regarded freshmen or incoming five-star prospects this year, it was kind of a weird fit for Villanova because you usually don't see them get those type of guys. So I don't know if Whitmore going to Villanova was actually the best place for him as a college player, but here he is still in discussions to be a potential top 5 pick in that lone freshman year at Villanova, 27.3 minutes per game. So once he did get into the rotation, he found a lot of time out on the floor. 48% from the field, so pretty efficient from the field, making 4.7 field goals per game on 9.8 attempts. Not that great from three, but solid and room for growth there for sure. He shot 34%, making about 1.5 per game, attempting about 4 per game. Shot 70% from the line, so a solid free throw shooter. 5.3 rebounds, 0.7 assists, so it doesn't really give you much as a playmaker right now. 0.3 blocks, 1.4 steals, 1.6 turnovers per game, and he did average 12.5 points per game in this year at Villanova. But as I said, he started the season off with a thumb injury. It was from the offseason, I believe, that he suffered the injury, and it really, I think, when you play at Villanova, you have to have that offseason to get acclimated to being a part of that system and that program. And I think that kind of hindered his development, at least at the start. But as the year went on, you saw the flashes of why he's going to be a top 10, potentially top 5 pick. When you look at his strengths, Whitmore, he is just a pop-off-the-page dynamic athlete. One of the probably 3 or 4 best overall athletes in this class. You can throw him up there with the Thompson twins, Andre Jackson as well from UConn. He's one of the best athletes in this draft. Just a very explosive leaper. That's one of the things that sticks out to you. If you're just like casually watching a game, you'll see you're not completely dived in. You're not watching every possession, but you're just glancing up and down at the screen every once in a while. You see like some wow, like he pops off the page and he has some big time dunks, and he uses that like athletic ability and that explosiveness that he has to his advantage on both ends of the floor. It's not one of those guys that just, wow, he's a freak athlete, but he doesn't look to really use it. He does really use it well. And a lot of, like I was saying, a lot of the times guys are just athletic, and you can see that. They'll do pretty crazy stuff in warm-ups. You'll see it every once in a while, but this is like in every possession type thing, you see that burst and that athleticism that he has. So being able to translate athleticism to skill to production on the floor is certainly an attractive trait. And I think what makes Cam Whitmore one of the top 5 guys potentially in this class is a very good 2-foot leaper, like one dribble. He catches in the corner, pump fake, one dribble baseline. He can go up off 2 foot and throw it down. Very explosive off 2 feet. And I think he could be used in the dunker spot at the next level as well. Just thinking like if he was able to go to like the Nuggets or something, like he would be perfect, I think, alongside Jokic when Jokic is getting trapped at the top of the key or whatever, or he's trying to back someone down in the mid-range area. Cam Whitmore on a lob or like a little bounce pass in that dunker spot, I think he would be perfect there. If he's able to get with like a pretty good passing center, I think that's a really good fit for him production-wise from day one. And he can get up quickly when attacking the rim. Like he gets by his defender and he's able to throw it down on the rim protector. He's got major ups and an asset in transition as well. I think he can be an attacking wing on the fast break if you're able to get it up to him outlet. Very explosive, like I was saying, and can get from point A to point B in a hurry. So you really like to see that out of him. able to be another, not just an asset in the half court, but also in transition as well. Strong downhill driver, really effective going left and getting to the rim, both dunking the ball and laying it in. And kind of weird that he's a right-hand dominant player, but he loves going left. Strong frame to push defenders out of the way and create space when attacking, especially going to the hoop. And he shows some promise as a shot creator on the perimeter, and his ability to hit shots on the perimeter, even if it isn't pretty at times. It's not the most gorgeous looking jump shot or the gorgeous looking moves, but he did show some ability in his freshman year at Villanova to create on the wing by himself. And I think that's, as an 18-year-old, he's going to continue to develop and continue to get better at that. Has a pretty nice crossover move and a crossover like step back move in his game that he uses on the perimeter to create space and create shots for himself. Also a really good cutter and diver to the hoop. That's why I was saying, like, him in the dunker spot, I could see him being really effective, or just a guy, if he's playing in the corner, making back cuts, be able to throw it down on the baseline, stuff like that. And his defensive upside is really eye-popping as well, especially in his frame, a gifted frame at 6'7", 230 at only 18 years old and a 6'11" wingspan. Doesn't get really much better than that for like an NBA wing nowadays. And he's really good on the defensive end when it comes to jumping passing lanes and beating guys to spots. He's always going to be, I think, like one of the, if not the top, one of the top 2 or 3 athletes on the floor at any time in an NBA game. So really impressive game and a lot of room for growth still. But I think he is got a lot of attributes that help him produce day one in the NBA, like that athleticism and the ability to defend. And he plays really hard with a good motor as well. So when you look at his weaknesses, when attacking the hoop, you rarely see him attack to his right, which is a strong hand. Everything, it seems like when you watch his offensive film, he's always going to his left. So I think that's certainly something that NBA teams are going to key on and try and force him to go right. I'm not sure as to why he's always going left and looking to attack. As a former basketball player myself who was a righty, I like to go left as well. I'm not really sure why, but he does a good job of getting back to his right hand and being able to finish there. But teams are going to cut off that right. Is he going to be able to get better at becoming a right-handed driver? We'll see that as well. Needs to improve the speed of the release on his jump shot and the consistency of his outside shot. That's ultimately going to determine if he's a all-star type player or if he's just a solid rotational type guy going forward, like a 10-year starter in the NBA. And if you're getting that at like 5 or 6, a 10-year starter in the NBA who maybe makes an all-star game or two, you're taking that. Like Cam Whitmore, that would be a very successful career for him. But the jump shot upside, I think, is what he's going to have to tap into a little bit more and clean up kind of the mechanics and just the overall smoothness of that jump shot if he wants to be a multiple-time all-star type player. Increase the playmaking skills as well. It doesn't really give you that much in that regard, only 0.7 assists per game. So that's not very intriguing. And he got that, as I was going back to the jump shot, get that 3-point percentage up. It was only 34% as a freshman. If he's able to get that to like 38, 39%, I think that would be a really solid thing with his ability to rebound the ball and play defense as well. And just be like an overall like energizer guy for a team. It's just a fun, like electric player to watch as well. And certainly something fans would enjoy, but also teammates would feed off that type of energy. Like to see him improve at the line a little bit as well. Only shot 70%. But it's really hard to find too many holes in his game, as it is with everyone. It seems like most of the guys that we've talked about, it's continue to improve your outside shot. I feel like that's for everyone, and we see that time and time again in the NBA. That's the one thing you can improve with time and repetition and just continue to get better. But he's got a bunch of stuff that he can just bring to the table from day one. So similar to Keontae George, though, who we talked about as well, where he was a high-ranked recruit, but I think he might have chose kind of a weird destination because Baylor and Villanova are both known for their development of players and over time just getting guys who are like ranked in the 60s or 70s in the recruiting services or finding some diamond in the roughs past the hundreds or getting potentially some transfers in and really developing them into high-level players and NBA players. Whitmore and Keontae George both being 5-star freshmen going in, I just don't really think it was a great fit overall for them. And when you look at a guy that came out of Baylor last year in Jeremy Sohan, he didn't really have a eye-popping first year at Baylor, but then he went and had a really nice year with the Spurs in the NBA. It's all about fit, and that really is in college and in the NBA. So I think Cam Whitmore's best basketball could be ahead of him. He certainly showed some promise, but I think missing that offseason with Villanova in the training camp, the lead up to the season, was a major blow to his overall development and just what kind of success he could have in his first year at Villanova. But he still turned in a pretty solid freshman campaign at the end of the day, and here we are looking at him as a potential top 5 pick. So being the athlete that he is and the 5-star prospect with everything that kind of went on with him and Villanova, it was still encouraging to see him kind of stick it out and still have a pretty productive year. And they were playing a lot better as the year went along once him and Justin Moore were fully in the rotation. But just his overall fit, I think, kind of limited his production in his lone college season. But I do think his best basketball is ahead of him. My projection for him, I don't think he slides out of the top 8, and it sounded more and more like he could be the pick potentially at number 4 to the Rockets or at number 5, maybe even to the Pistons. So this is a guy that I don't see falling out of the top 8 in the draft. My comparison for him, I'll go with Miles Bridges, who was out this past year due to some off the court issues, but when he's been on the floor with the Hornets, he's been a rapidly improving player. And I do think Cam Whitmore has a more advanced perimeter game than Bridges right now. I think if Cam Whitmore can go out there and do what Miles Bridges does on a daily basis on the basketball floor and then continue to improve that perimeter game, he's got all-star potential. So very high on this young man, and I think he's going to have a really productive NBA career. Regardless of the jump shot comes around to being like a 39-40% shooter or not, I think he brings a lot to the table and is a very intriguing prospect going forward. So that is my breakdown on Villanova freshman forward Cam Whitmore. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll talk soon.